second.
Hey everybody, it's Benny One, and I'm back at you with another Star Trek movie review, everybody. And today we're moving on to Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Everybody, that is right. They convinced Leonard Nimoy to come back and play Spock after the second one, because that was where they weren't even sure if they were going to continue the movie franchise after number 2, The Wrath of Khan. And they most definitely were not expecting Spock to be a continuing character in these live-action movies. But they convinced him to come back. One of the big reasons why he came back was they let him direct the third movie. And you know what? He does a pretty damn good job directing this film. He's not really in the movie very much until the very end of the movie, like the last 20 minutes, I would say. So he really gets to focus on being the director of this movie. And like I said, he does a pretty damn good job. And all of our cast is back from the first and the second movie. Kirk, Scotty, Bones, Chekhov, Sulu, Uhura, they're all back in this movie. We get a newcomer. Christopher Lloyd plays Krug. He is a Klingon like lord and captain of a bird of prey that can cloak. That's the first time they show that off in a movie. So is a Klingon bird of prey that has the cloaking technology, which is pretty cool. Which is well known now in the Star Trek universe. So he is in this movie, and I gotta say, it's pretty interesting seeing Christopher Lloyd play a freaking crazy, mean-ass Klingon. I'm not gonna lie. And he's a okay villain in the movie. He's not the best villain in the Star Trek universe, but he does a decent job. So yeah, this movie picks up literally right where the Wrath of Khan left off. The Enterprise is heading back to Earth to get the Enterprise fixed and, debrief on what happened out there. And it shows Kirk really dealing with the loss of his friend, because Spock died in the last movie, and it shows the crew dealing with this and the ramifications of what happened, because when they get back to Earth, they get told that they're shutting the Enterprise down. It's 20 years old. Like, they see no need for the Enterprise. They're not gonna refit it and repair it so it can go back out. It's done. The Enterprise is done, because they have Excelsior right over there. So the new freaking goddamn ship that they're working on, and I love it because Scotty talks shit about that new ship the entire movie when they're on Earth. I love the stuff on Earth too. Like, they show them doing a toast to Spock, and they like show locations on Earth and stuff. That's what I kind of like about this one, is we get a little bit more time on Earth in this version of the Star Trek universe. So I kind of enjoyed that. And then David and oh, Jesus Christ. They're back. It's the female Vulcan chick from the last movie who... Christy Alley played Saavik. That's who it is. It's Saavik. She played Saavik in the second one, The Wrath of Khan, and she got recast in this movie. So David and her are studying Genesis, the planet Genesis that got made at the end of the movie, where Spock's tube got launched toward Genesis, and it landed on Genesis, and they get some freaking detections that his tube's down there. They find his tube, and then they get a thing saying that there's a life sign down on the planet. So they go down to investigate, and sure as shit, they find a young little boy that's like 8 to 10 that is a Vulcan. And you're like, holy shit, Spock is alive. Like, the Genesis planet recreated him, and he's back. Like, he's not dead anymore. So they send word to Kirk and everybody back on Earth, and Kirk tries to go about this the right way before he goes all rogue and crazy. He tries to let them take the Enterprise out, or another ship, just to go there and see if there's a chance that his best friend and, partner that they've been working together for so long, a part of their crew, Spock, is alive. He wants to go and get him. And they tell him no, they flat out tell him no, and then we get this cool ass heist little sequence of them still in the Enterprise and taking off, man. It's a really cool part in the movie because the Excelsior, Scotty makes it so that the trans warp drive doesn't work anymore, so they can't chase him. And they're like, "Oh, we'll catch him." They're like, "Kirk, you think you can get away from us? We got a trans warp drive in this bad boy. You can't escape from us." So, but they do escape, and they eventually run into the Klingons and have their little bout with the Klingons, and Krug. And they end up having to sacrifice the Enterprise. Everybody, that's right. This is this is the first of many times of them blowing up the Enterprise. Like, they love to destroy that ship. That's all I have to say. They love destroying that ship in these live action movies. So yeah, they have to sacrifice the Enterprise so that they can get down to that planet, so that he can rescue his son David and Saavik and Spock. And unfortunately, Kirk's son gets murdered too by one of the Klingons in the process. And yeah, it's not good. So we have a little sacrifice and loss in this movie also, but it's all about Spock. And the whole point of the movie is they're going to get Spock to bring him back to Vulcan so that they can switch back the mind meld that Spock did on Dr. McCoy. Because in the end of Wrath of Khan, when he did the mind meld thing and told him to remember, he basically took his consciousness and put it in Bones' head. And Bones is acting all sorts of weird in this entire movie. There's lots of parts where he's talking like Spock, acting like him, working in his post, and everything. It's very odd. So they got to bring him back to Vulcan so that they can get his conscience put back in this new body of Spock that he got because he was reborn, basically. And by the end of the movie, of course, Spock gets his mind back. They kind of make you think he might not, because they're like, only time will tell. And I mean, yeah, that's basically where the movie ends. And then the next movie is a very damn entertaining Star Trek movie for sure. So the third Star Trek movie, The Search for Spock, a lot of people say the odd-numbered Star Trek movies are not good, but I will say that this one kind of breaks that saying, because yeah, I agree with that, except for this one. I think this one is actually a pretty decent, entertaining movie, especially after the Wrath of Khan, and it's actually the middle act of a trilogy in a way, because Star Trek 2, 3, and 4 are like a little trilogy of their own. They tell this complete little story that starts from the Wrath of Khan and ends with the voyage home. So I'm excited to get to the fourth movie too. So I'm going to give Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a pretty damn solid follow-up to the Wrath of Khan, and I think it's a pretty decent Star Trek movie. So an 8 out of 10 for Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, everybody. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll be catching you on the tube later because I have spoken.